Hi there, everyone, and welcome into this week's market update. Don't forget that any advice contained within this presentation is general only, so it isn't tailored to your particular circumstances. You need to decide for yourself whether it's appropriate to you. Okay, so our market has jumped up 4 days in a row now without any breather, which is very rare to see for our market. Pushing up near 7,000 through that 69.70. The big question is whether we're going to pull straight back below that level or whether we're going to launch up and test the 200-day moving average again. It's been quite some time since we've been able to get above that 200-day average, guys. Okay, and I don't suspect we'll get above that level until we start seeing the likes of the central banks of the world stop lifting interest rates so aggressively. So although we're on a nice big rally now, I really don't think it's going to last. Now, technicals right now are sort of suggesting a bit more in the move. We are coming into an overbought condition. We're also coming into some key news tonight. So tonight's the night we'll get a real test to see whether we're going to continue higher or whether this is just going to fail and pull right back or not. But yeah, there's not really much else to say on our market right now. There could be a start of a bit of an uptrend here. Too early to call that though. Until we start seeing a break through that 200-day average, for me, we're still on a bit of a sort of a sideways to bear market, right? And with the way interest rates are going up, I still sort of really believe it's going to be more of a sideways to potential bear market. Now, coming across the S&P 500 last night, once again, big move higher. Similar sort of action to what we're seeing on our market at the moment. But they're trading maybe a couple of points above a key level. The next key level, again, is actually not too far away at 41.75. There's a bit of a downtrend line, though. That's evident through here. 200-day moving average is hiding just behind that line as well. So once again, that sort of 200-day average is the target to the upside overall. Coming into that overbought area, don't think this move's going to last much longer. All in all, similar to what I was saying before, there's still a downtrend on this market. We haven't really seen enough to prove an uptrend just yet. We tried to rally up higher through here, but that failed. We now got a potential of a higher trough, but until I see a higher peak, I'm not calling the bottom of this market. So look, I'm probably more sideways overall. I think for the next sort of 3 to 4 months until we get a point where there's a bit more evidence that inflation has in fact peaked and interest rates will not go up any further. So let's dig into that a little bit further. So the current rally we're seeing on the market is, I believe, a lot of people speculating that inflation has peaked. Well, we'll find out tonight. I've seen crude oil recently come back down off the cool, all right? It came below 90, but energy prices, across the board are still fairly high especially on the European gas side of things. European inflation was quite high the other week, so I don't know whether people are going to get what they want out of tonight's CPI reading. So the big one is tonight for me. That's going to really dictate the mood of this market moving forward. The headline inflation for the US tonight is actually expected to come off a little bit from 8.5 down to 8.1, but core inflation is expected to go from 5.9 up to 6.1. So core's probably the key one that they look at from a central bank point of view. We want to see that back closer to 2% in the coming years, or at least the view that that's going to happen. I think that's what's sort of driving markets at the moment, is this underlying belief that inflation's topped out. Look, who knows? Possibly has, possibly hasn't. We'll find out tonight a bit more information. But I can say if the inflation comes in a little bit higher than expected, I think markets will go for a big sell-off. And the reason why I say that is because next week we've got the Fed, and the Fed's expected to lift by 75 points. Now, I think the market is kind of priced that 75 points in by now. That's okay. But will they go hard again on the next reading is the big question here. So after the September meeting, they'll meet again early November. So it's roughly looking, 6 to 7 weeks away. And that's where the market mood's going to sort of switch between whether they think it's going to go for a big hike again. And the only reason why you'd think that is if inflation comes in a little bit higher tonight. So tonight's the night for me. That's going to really dictate what this market wants to do over the next sort of 2 to 3 weeks. Once we get past the Fed, though, the mood's probably going to shift towards reporting again. because once you get past the Fed, we'll get coming to early October. Around about middle of October, the US reporting kicks off once more. We'll have Aussie bank reporting early November. So focus will start to shift around early October towards reporting season. So if we do get that pullback after the CPI and the Fed, I do believe the markets will probably rally pretty quickly towards reporting. But yeah, so tonight really for me dictates the next 2 to 3 weeks, and whether we're going to pull back before we rally again towards that middle of October, early November sort of period. And that's your typical seasonal pattern overall for our market. So look, there's probably not much more else to say for me right now. The main focus is tonight. Once we get past tonight, we'll then get a broader view again of the where things are looking. I guess if you take this whole lifting interest rates out of the equation, for me, I would be quite bullish, right? I think there's heaps of money that's going to be spent in the economies to move towards green energy and things like that. I think governments are pretty eager to spend their way out of COVID and keep their economies nice and strong. Our problem is that the supply chain can't keep up at this point. So to me, it's a big complex issue, combination between the Russia-Ukraine situation that's hiked energy prices, but also supply chain restraints, and China coming in and out of lockdown hasn't helped either. So that's these issues that we need to push through, and it's whether they're going to be very short-term issues or longer-term issues. For me, inflation is going to be here, and it's going to take a while to come back down. And I think it's going to take a good couple of years before we actually see inflation come back down to the central bank's targets. It's a question of how long will they continue to lift rates and lift them aggressively. That's going to affect the mood of the market. And for me, three rate hikes of 75 points in a row from the Fed is pretty big, right? And perhaps we might not have seen in the economic data the effects of these rate hikes just yet. It might actually take a while to flow through. And what that says to me is probably more of a sideways market than anything in the near term, right? So I think there's definitely an eagerness to buy the dip because there's a lot of cheap stocks out there. But I think all rallies are going to have a limited sort of limited move to them because of these interest rate hikes, and then we'll probably start seeing a little bit more weaker economic data moving forward if they continue to hike rates the way they are. We're already starting to see consumer confidence in Australia fall. We saw that this week, and that was on the back of that another 0.5% rate hike. So I think that's going to be the tone moving forward. We're still seeing a lot of US companies, shave down the size of their staff. So we're seeing a lot of people retrenched, and that will probably, if continues, will reflect in the employment numbers in the near future as well. So, I don't think the volatility is over, guys. I think we're going to see some buy the bottoms happen, but I think that the rallies will come up and just stay inside a bit of a channeling type pattern for the rest of the year, unless something changes. Okay, unless something changes, and it could change quickly. So look, that's probably it for me. We'll see what happens tonight and go from there. So thanks for listening in. Take care and bye for now.